Hello ladies and gentlemen, Sonic Yoda from SEGADriven here with a collection special for you based on Mega Drive bootlegs. Now this is a bit of a bizarre thing that I've recently become a little bit fascinated with, but yeah, so if you're not aware of Mega Drive bootlegging, it basically takes two formats. So the first up is generally the more fascinating of the two, and that is the actual creation of an original game or a hack of an original game that is basically misleading the consumer into thinking that something interesting or original is available for the console. For instance, Harry Potter for the Mega Drive. Yes, that is a thing that exists. This is actually, unfortunately, unplayable, doesn't work, and this is one of the things that is fraught with danger when you come to collecting with the Mega Drive bootlegs, because yeah, sometimes they just don't work. But this is bizarrely a isometric Pac-Man clone that uses Harry Potter graphics. There you go, that's the thing. And they take many forms. Usually they are based around Nintendo games, for instance, that weren't available for the Mega Drive, and basically someone has decided that we'll try and port the damn thing to the Mega Drive, with varying results, let's put it that way. The other form that this takes is reproductions, and as you can see here, I have a reproduction of Double Dragon 2 for the Mega Drive. That's obviously just a printed version of the Japanese thing, but if you actually look at the cartridge, you can see that there's actual no Mega Drive branding on it whatsoever, and nothing that says, you know, Sega on the back either. So yeah, clearly a reproduction. Now the whole point of reproductions is basically, in a very similar way to the bootlegs, try to catch people off. So sometimes the markup on these can be very, very high, which is why if you think about collecting bootleg games, you should probably set yourself a budget, because you can get caught out. And you can see with my Harry Potter there, it doesn't work. I spent money on that, and yeah, no luck, unfortunately. Can't play the damn thing. So yeah, set yourself a budget. I generally like to only spend £10 or less on bootleg games, because if they don't work, then I feel like I've wasted my money. But at the same time, you can also get ripped off, because if it's a rare game that's been reproduced, then the seller would generally know that they could make a buck off you. So, for instance, I have a copy of Glaylancer, which for whatever reason I spent £30 on, and it looks like a pretty legit PAL European version of the game. Obviously, that's a bootleg because the game never came out in the European region. So for whatever reason, I decided that day that I was convinced that it did, and bought this £30 bloody reproduction. Gotta be careful with these things, so definitely set yourself a budget if you're going to think about collecting bootleg games, because you could get ripped off. But yes, let's have a look at the stuff I've got, and I will show you some of the more interesting games in my collection. Let's have a look. So first up, let's talk about actual bootleg games. So obviously that Harry Potter one that I featured earlier doesn't work, so I can't really give you much of an insight on that one. But let's talk about Donkey Kong. So yes, if I remember correctly, this is Super Donkey Kong 98 or something like that. And it is basically an attempt to port Donkey Kong Country to the Mega Drive. So this is Super Donkey Kong 99, not 98, as I previously listed it as when we were looking at the cartridge. But yes, this is an attempt to get Donkey Kong Country onto the Mega Drive. And as you can see, it's obviously missing an awful lot of frames of animation, and I'm already dead, which is a good start. But yeah, this is nothing special. You don't have the same sort of momentum as you do in a normal Donkey Kong game, but you do have, you know, you can pick things up and chuck them at stuff. The same launching barrels and things like that. It's you know, all the elements are there, but unfortunately it's just a bit janky and nothing special to play. It's what we said. Also, yeah, the enemies make weird sort of screams and grunts when you defeat them, which I'm not entirely sure was a feature of the original, but this has it. Don't know what the hell that's supposed to be. But yeah, not a great game. A valiant effort, let's put it that way. But I just shot myself into the abyss. That was a good start. Yeah, just not particularly great, but a weird little oddity and an obvious attempt to get Donkey Kong Country onto the Mega Drive. Yeah. Next up, we have Rockman X3, which again is an attempt to port Rockman X3 to the Mega Drive. This has a really peculiar sort of inkjet printed paper case, which I did not make, it's got to be said. It came like this. I'll show you the cartridge quickly. Basically, just a reprint of the cover with some shoddy Mega Drive logo attached to it to make it look more official, even though it's not. Rockman X3 and attempts to port Rockman X3 from the SNES to the Mega Drive. Can't be said that this is any good either, it's got to be said. So the weird thing is this teleporting in, which seems to put you in the air instead of on the floor. Don't know why that happens. Yeah, you've got the abilities, so you've got dash in and your standard. Oh, for some reason that's not working at the moment. There we go. Yeah, you can use a charge shot. You can do your standard not charge shot, the lemons, slightly powered up charge, and then a full charge. So yeah, it works, it functions at least, but as you can see there's an awful lot of flicker going on. And the other thing is as well, see those enemies I just defeated, if I move over here they should return, or maybe not, but I am getting enemies over here which weren't here originally. Oh no, there we are. So yeah, it doesn't take too long for things to just respawn for whatever reason, which is not obviously a feature of most Mega Man games. But yeah, you can also do the wall jumping, you can air dash, yeah, you can air dash as well. It doesn't look too bad either as well, it's quite a pretty looking little game actually, but it doesn't function as well as a proper Mega Man game should, and that's obviously quite an issue. And then the final one, Super Mario Brothers, again in one of these silly little paper cases. This is actually a hack of an existing pirate game, a Chip 'n Dale game actually, and basically just exchanges everything for Mario sprites. So this is Super Mario World, as you can see, and this is, well, is it Super Mario World, is it Super Mario Brothers, who knows. Yeah, this is a hack of an existing bootleg Chip 'n Dale game, and as you can see there are no coins, so this is a bit bizarre. So you can pick up boxes and throw them at enemies, like so, because you can't actually jump on enemies because that hurts. You can also use the box to hide in for some reason, and as you can see down the bottom there's a gauge for a green fist. That basically means that, well, it's a special move, and I'll show you. You're limited to 4 at the moment, but you can get more because they're hidden in boxes. But yeah, that allows you to do Hadouken basically, which is bizarre, it's got to be said at least. But yeah, there's a health power up. But yeah, that's Super Mario World. It's a bonkers little game. It's actually bizarrely playable, it's got to be said. Nothing particularly challenging. It only gets a little bit challenging later because the level design is a bit naff. But yeah, it plays bizarrely okay, it's got to be said. It's nothing particularly great, but it is a playable game, which is peculiar to say the least. But yeah, Super Mario World, that's a thing that exists on Mega Drive now. Now then, reproductions. Let's get those out of the way for the time being. So, I've obviously shown you the version of Double Dragon 2 I've got, which has conveniently just reprinted a Japanese cover. So here's a reproduction of Double Dragon 2, The Revenge. I don't know why on earth you'd want to do a repro of this, because Double Dragon 2 is a pretty naff beat-em-up, it's got to be said. But yeah, here it is in all its glory. This is the first level of this. If I remember correctly, that helicopter is supposed to be a nod to Cobra Command, and in the original Double Dragon it's the car from Road Avenger, for a bit of trivia for you there. But yeah, this is a pretty terrible fighting game, it's got to be said. So yeah, can't really recommend it, and I'm already getting my ass kicked. But next up, we've got things like Top Gear 2, a very good driving game actually, and this is just a reproduction of the game. It works fine, you know, nothing special, not particularly rare game, so it's a bit of a strange repro to do, it's got to be said. And it's the PAL style cartridges, but with an enormous label, as you can see,
which is not obviously something that you generally see on the PAL cartridges. So last of the repros then, this is Top Gear 2, and it's, yeah, your pretty standard driving game. Reminds me a lot of the Lotus Turbo Challenge games. I don't think, bizarrely, the original game was actually ported to Mega Drive, only the sequel. The original version is exclusive to the SNES. But yeah, this is a fun little game. Not a lot else to say about that, to be honest with you. You have a boost button, and you have to race other races. You can actually take damage as well, so you've got to be careful of that. And yeah, that's a straight port of Top Gear 2 for the Mega Drive. Next up, we have that copy of Glaylancer I was telling you about. So yeah, obviously this did not come out in PAL regions and in English, so this should have been a pretty obvious don't buy this, but for whatever reason I decided that it was legit, and I spent £30 on the bugger, which is a stupid thing to do. Doesn't come with a manual, but it does come with a label printed cartridge. Seems to be coming away there. But yeah, quite well done repro, actually, it's got to be said. Yeah, this is pretty much a reproduction of the game, and no real alterations, to be honest with you, because it's just a straight repro. Yeah, there you go. Right, so here we have Bare Knuckle 3, which is obviously just, again, another repro. Just the Japanese ROM dumped on a new chip in a new repro shell, and that functions pretty much as you'd expect it to. Right, so now we've got Bare Knuckle 3, as you can see. Again, this is a straight repro of the game, and as you can hear, I'm hoping you can hear, the sound is very slow because it's unoptimized at 50 Hz. I think that might be a fault of my using a SCART with a 60 Hz machine, and not the fact that I am running this in a 50 Hz, because I'm not. But otherwise, the game is exactly the same. It still controls just as fast. Yeah, the combo is exactly the same. Don't know what that flashing's all about. That's what we said. That might be a glitch of running it in 50 Hz. I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, otherwise, pretty much an identical port of Bare Knuckle 3. So next up we have a reproduction of TMNT, the Hyperstone Heist, which is obviously becoming quite rare now. PAL copies of this usually fetch around £30 now. I got this for £8, and it is essentially just the PAL game on a repro chip in a repro plastic shell. So yeah, that's a thing. Yeah, so now we've got TMNT Hyperstone Heist. Let's skip that and start playing the game. Yeah, this is pretty much an identical version of the game. Well, it should be, because it's a reproduction. Let's get this thing running, and yeah, the sound is correctly optimized, which makes me think this is probably just a PAL version of the game on a repro chip and in a repro cartridge shell. So yeah, works fine. Nothing really else to say about that, to be honest with you. It does the job.
So there you go, Mega Drive bootlegs. That is a thing that happens, and still happens today. In fact, you can still find certain sellers making bootlegs because people understand that they want cheap alternatives to rare games, unfortunately. But yeah, that's my little collection. I'm hopefully going to give you some more update videos as and when I get some more bits and pieces. But yeah, don't know what's particularly attracted me to that. I think it's probably just because it's really funny, actually. It's got to be said. The effort that goes into making a fake version of an existing game just to have it on a different system, as well as produce obviously new chips and plastic shells for the cartridges and things like that. There's an awful lot of effort that goes into just, you know, trying to mug people off. And yeah, I can't imagine it's particularly cost effective, it's got to be said, but it does make for an interesting side of collecting retro video games. So yeah, there you go. That was my bootleg Mega Drive collection. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I've been Sonic from SEGADriven. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed the stuff, you should probably subscribe to the channel. See you next time.